Get focused, get free, stay positive. You're now listening to Focused and Free with Reed.
Personal boundaries are defined as the limits and rules we set for ourselves within relationships. Setting boundaries is a very important aspect in our relationships, and we must do so. Did you know that even Jesus himself set boundaries? Amongst his disciples, he seemed to even have sub levels of boundaries. That basically meant that he kept most of his disciples in one relational area, but he allowed Peter, James, and John into a different area of his life. Who you allow into your personal space and into your personal boundaries, or the boundaries that you do set, is very important. So today, we're going to talk about setting boundaries, why it is important, and how we need to set those boundaries in place. Hey, 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 good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It doesn't matter what time that you have decided to tune in. I am just so happy to have you guys tuning in with me today on Focusing Free with Ree. Look, I hope that everybody is having a wonderful day. And if this is the end of your day that you're getting a chance to listen or tune in, I hope that today was amazing. Look, we are going to jump right into it. I probably sound like it because I am fresh up this morning. This this one was so heavy on me. I was like, oh, I gotta get up and talk about this like right now, or speak on this right now. So I'm gonna jump right into it, and I hope that what I say today or anything that is said is a blessing to you. So let's jump right into it. So here lately, I just been thinking and just kind of been on, like as I stated. I don't know if I remember saying, or you guys remember me saying this. Been kind of more so on a healing journey, and throughout the healing journey, I have learned some new things about me. That's what indeed does happen when you are healing. You start to discover things that you really did not understand or know about yourself, or even with emotions and why you feel the way that you feel about certain things. And one of the things that I've had to work on was setting boundaries. Throughout my life and throughout just everyday life, I think that we encounter having to deal with so many different things, from juggling work to juggling the kids, to if you are married, being married, to having friendships, just to doing so many different things in our lives. And I think with all of that, sometimes things begin to get a little overwhelming, especially when we don't set boundaries or let people know where they should stand and how they should stand in our lives. And so I want to just talk about, setting boundaries, because I didn't even realize until I began to start my healing or go on my healing journey that boundaries were important. And one of the reasons that setting boundaries is important is because it basically lets others understand how you want to be treated. The respect that you have for yourself. Not only that, setting boundaries help to improve your mental, spiritual, and emotional health. So I know a lot of times we might go on and say, okay, I don't need to, that's my mom, or that's my friend. I should just let them do it how they want to do it. But no, in all your relationships, in every capacity, you have to set boundaries, even on your job. You have to set boundaries with people so that you're not overwhelmed and so that you're not stressed and so that, you're just in the best place possible. So we definitely want to discuss on, respecting boundaries today. And you might be saying, okay, how do I know that I need to set boundaries? Because, hey, that's something that we have to ask ourselves. Like, how do I know that I need to set boundaries? And one of the ways is being able to see that there's lies and deception, manipulation. If you've encountered gaslighting, harassing, argumentative, trying, nagging spirits, or someone that's always trying to argue with you or trying to convince you of something or trying to sway you basically to feel the way that they feel and basically not validating your emotions or your feelings, making it seem like you are coming from a place of just self. Anytime that you voice your opinion or you say that you feel a certain way about something, your opinion and your feelings aren't valid to them. Someone taking advantage of you in any way possible, that's basically alarm to, hey, I need to set boundaries. So if any of those, if you have experienced any of those, then hey, you need to set some boundaries. We need to set some boundaries. So I'm going to just give an acronym that I made concerning setting boundaries. And the first one was B, of course, the B in boundaries, and that was be direct and honest. If there's something that's going on and you don't like what's being said or being done to you, and you just kind of keep dealing with it and not speaking up and not saying anything, hey, you have to be direct and honest. Don't let anyone pressure you to do things that you don't want to do. Don't let anyone pressure you to feel a way that you don't feel. Because Matthew 5:37 simply says, simply let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. So no, be direct, be honest. If you don't like it, if you don't feel it, that if it's not a valid thing, speak up. Be direct and honest. The next one is O. O is for observe. So you have to observe when you're not, or when someone is crossing boundaries, because I'm gonna just be honest. I could be a little, at one point in time, I was a little naive on noticing when someone was crossing boundaries. Like, it would kind of be like in a shady or petty manner. Things were being said, but you have to observe and understand or know when someone is, crossing boundaries. As I stated, when you observe when there's lies and deception. Observe when that manipulating behavior is taking place. Observe when, there's always an argument every time that you say something or you express yourself. Yeah, you have to observe all those points so that you can understand and know, hey, boundaries need to be set. So observe was the next one. Number 3, which is for the U, is understanding. You need to set boundaries so that there's an understanding of what you will allow and what you will not allow. We have to come to an understanding of saying, hey, nope, I'm not going to take that. Nope, I'm not going to deal with that. You need to understand, and if you can't understand, then guess what? If you don't understand that I need these boundaries to be in place and you don't need to cross those boundaries, then guess what? Titus 3:10 says, if people are causing division among you, give a first and a second warning. After that, have nothing more to do with them. That's Titus 3:10, the New Living Translation. Listen, a lot of times people feel like just because of the fact that you, because they're your friend or whatever, because they're, maybe a close relative, no matter who it might be. Sometimes we feel like, oh, well, I can't do them like that. No, you have to put boundaries in place for your peace. They have to have an understanding because you are an adult, and they have to understand and respect the boundaries that you set in place. It is for them to understand what you will and won't allow. And guess what? If they don't want to come to an understanding and to understand or to do what you are asking them to do, hey, love you, but I'm going to keep my distance and I'm going to love you from a distance. And guess what? While I'm loving you, there won't be any resentment or any feeling ill towards you. It's just that I'm understanding and I'm recognizing that I have to have peace. And I have to have peace for my family. I have to have peace for my generation to come. Because we have to realize and understand the decisions that we do make now not only affects us, but it affects our children and generations to come. So there needs to be an understanding. The N is for no. Listen, we have to understand and know that it is okay to say no. No, I'm not doing it. Just like the scripture that I just read in Matthew 5:37 saying, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Listen, no, if you don't want to do something, if what is being said you don't agree with, it's okay to say no. You will not be, it's okay. It's okay. There will not be anything done to you if you simply say no. The best thing that'll happen is that, like I said, you will create those boundaries. But speak up, say no. If you don't agree with something, if you don't want to do something, or it's just like a constant feeling of trying to get you to do something that you don't want to do. No, I don't want to do that. Get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do it because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I want no parts of it. It's okay to say, no, you can't come in my house and do this. It's okay to say, no, I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to be here because it doesn't fit my schedule. It's okay to simply say no. No, just no at the end of the day. And the next one is D. Don't be a doormat. Don't let anybody walk all over you. Like we said, this is why boundaries are important, because if you don't set them, then people just feel like they can say and do anything to you or do towards you, and there be no repercussion to whatever they do. So don't be a doormat. Ask God. A is for ask God. Ask God and be led of the Spirit on where you need to go, because sometimes we're doing things out of people pleasing. Let's be honest. That's one of the reasons that not gaslighting, but that's one of the reasons why boundaries are typically crossed, is because we spend our time trying to people please and not God please. So ask God, hey, should I go and do this? Should I be a part of this? Even, hey, it doesn't matter who it is. You're an adult and you have to be led of the Spirit on anything that you do or are going to do. So, hey, ask God, because if you ask God, I can guarantee you a lot of times it will save you some heartache and some heartbreak, some argumentative moments, some manipulating moments. It can literally guard you, because the thing that we have to remember is we have to guard our heart, we have to guard our mind, and we have to guard our spirit. So we have to definitely ask God. And 1 John 4:1 says, dear friends, do not believe everyone who claims to speak by the Spirit. You must test them to see if the Spirit they have comes from God. For there are many false prophets in the world. You have to test and make sure. We have to ask God, hey, is this something that I should be a part of? Should I be going here or doing this or helping with this? Because you will find out we can save ourselves a lot of time and a lot of stress if we just ask God and be led by the Spirit. So most definitely be led by the Spirit. And R is for respect. Place put respect on or place respect on those boundaries. You have to ask people to respect what you need them to respect. If it means that, hey, I don't want you coming to my home at 7 o'clock in the morning, respect me. Respect. If I don't want you saying these type of things to me, respect me. Um, like Birdman said, he said, put some respect on my name. No, I'm just playing, y'all. But no, he said, we definitely have to respect. And just like if I give you respect, I expect for you to give me respect. So respect. With those boundaries, when you put those boundaries in place, it helps people to understand that, hey, you're going to respect me. You have to respect what I've said, what I've said for me. And so that's an important thing. It's very, very, very important. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which is I. So I is for identify. It's very, very important that you identify when boundaries need to be set, or even identify how you want to set boundaries. Because when you identify basically how you need to set those boundaries or what boundaries need to be set, basically it helps you to create a clear limit of how you would like to be treated. As I stated previously, identifying that you need to set boundaries, or identifying when boundaries need to be set, is so important, because it says to the other person, or it says to anyone in your life, or wherever you might be, whoever you might come in contact with, it says, this is how I want to be treated. This is how I am going to be treated. And if you don't respect that, or if you don't understand that, then guess what? I'm going to exit stage left. You have to identify, you have to, understand your feelings and your emotions, because a lot of times, just with me, and some of my friends can tell you this, like when I have a conversation or when I'm even venting about certain things, I will stop in the middle and I say, okay, why did that make me feel like that? Okay, why did I respond like that? Let me identify my feelings. Because if you identify what made you feel like that, or why it made you feel the way that it made you feel, you will know how in the future you need to set those boundaries. So I'll say, for an example, all right, it made me feel like this because I feel like my trust was broken. So if it's saying, okay, I feel like this because I feel like my trust was broken, how in the future can I not feel that way again? What boundary do I need to set in place so that never happens again? So it might indeed be, okay, well, I won't tell that person anything else concerning my personal life or my personal business. So that's just giving an example of, identifying what bothered, how you need to set boundaries and what bothered you, because we are human. And there are things that aggravates us and we don't like it, So, hey, put those boundaries in place, because when you do put boundaries in place, it's an act of self-care. It's an act of saying, okay, I care about me. Yes, I love everybody else, but I need some time. I need to also set some time or some boundaries in place for myself. So I was for identify. E is for expectations. Listen. These are my expectations, okay? This is how I'm expecting you to treat me going forward. This is what I expect you as my family, you as my friend, you as my coworker, you as my boss, whatever the scenario or the situation might be. You have to set an expectation. We've already read that scripture, but Titus 3:10, we're going back to that, where it says, if people are causing division amongst you, give a first and a second warning. After that, have nothing more to do with them. I'm not saying y'all cut anybody off, but and listen, because a lot of times we think that when we don't allow people back into our personal space, that we are, oh, you're evil, you're being mean, or you're not a very godly person. Totally not it. That is not the case. That is not the case. when you set expectations, or you set in expectations and someone still is going over what you set in place, or they're crossing boundaries, nope, you have the right to say, you know what, I'm going to end this relationship. You don't respect me. You don't have an understanding. You're treating me as if I'm just a regular old doormat. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end this relationship because I've set the expectations and you still continue to break them. You're still continuing to say, you know what, I'm just going to ignore the boundaries that's been set in place and I'm going to do what I want to do. That's showing no respect. And so a part of setting boundaries is, what did I just say? It's a part of showing yourself or having self-care, or giving yourself the care that you need. So hey, no, if once you set those boundaries and those expectations in place, like I expect you to do this and I expect to be treated like this. Once you set those expectations and someone decides to, hey, I'm going to just do what I want to do, there is nothing wrong. I'm going to say it again. There is nothing wrong when you decide, hey, I'm going to end this relationship. And a lot of times it doesn't mean that when you see them out in the public, you don't speak. Now, hey, that's being mean. Now you speak to people, you still show love, because at the end of the day, God is love. So we still have to show love, but it does not mean that you have to let someone back into your personal space once they've crossed those boundaries, once you set them in place. Hey, I'm saying, give them the opportunity to, get the thing right, or to do it in a right manner, but do it in the right manner. But if they choose not to, then guess what? Hey, if I decide that I'm going to thank you, but I'm going to let you exit, then hey, so be it. And last and not least, speak up. Speak up. Speak up. It's definitely last, but it's not least. It all sums it up. It sums everything up. We have to speak out. Speak up. For 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Don't you be scared to set your boundaries. Don't be scared at all. Because he has not given you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. If there's something that, as I stated, that you don't agree with, or something that you don't want to do, there's nothing wrong with speaking up. Something that even you're not going to allow people to do to you. You got to speak up. Speak up, speak out. Speak up and speak out so that you can be heard. Those boundaries can be set in place because it's very important. And like as I stated previously, it not only affects you, but if you have children, it affects how, your children will respond to things in the future. Because we don't want to have a generation of doormats. We don't want to have a generation of people, of children and generations to come with them just feeling like they have to be walked all over. You know what? And it's something else, because truth be told, if we really just think back on some things that we've seen, growing up, we watched and we saw some of the people in the church literally being walked all over and being doormats. Not only in the church, but in other places. They were being walked on, and they never spoke out. They never said anything about it. They just kind of took that behavior, because I think it might have been more so of, if I say something, that's really not godly behavior. But no, I want to encourage you today that God is not God is not a God of confusion, but he's a God of peace. That's 1 Corinthians 14 and 33. For God is not a God of confusion, but a God of peace. Remember that He wants us to live in a place of peace. He wants our mind to be at peace. He wants our spirit to be at peace. So it's important that we set these boundaries in place. And you might even ask, because I wanted to give some examples to you guys, but you might even ask, well, what is some words that I would even use to say, hey, I don't want to do this, or I'm not feeling doing this. Of course, first and foremost, no, I don't want to be a part of this. But thank you so much for inviting me. Saying, hey, this is not allowed. I'm not going to, allow you to treat me like this. Even, hey, you might even, setting boundaries might even mean coming to a place of, compromising about something. You might say, in order for you to do this, I need you to do this, because it's about respect. Like, you have to set boundaries for yourself, for your family, on until years later, it's wore down. Like, being honest, like, we want to practice setting those boundaries in place. So if that means I'm telling, whoever it is that needs to be told, no, I'm not going to allow you to come in to my personal space and do this to me. Or I'm not going to allow you to come in, treat me in this manner, disrespect me, walk all over the boundaries that I've set in place previously. We're not going to do that. So today, I want to encourage you to set those boundaries. And as I stated in the title, it says, and respect these boundaries. We got to say, respect these boundaries that I've put in place. And if you cannot accept the boundaries and respect the boundaries that I've set in place, then guess what? We're going to have to come to a different resolution. And that resolution could be where I'm going to cut ties. It could be where I don't allow you anymore into, the being in my space of continuing to keep you as a friend, or just whatever it might be. No, you have to respect the boundaries. And if you can't do so, then I am going to exit stage left. So I hope that you were encouraged by this today, and that you just identify if there is any boundaries that need to be set in your life, and that not only do you identify them, but you set them in place. So y'all know what we got to do. We have to choose the song of the day. And the song of today is of the day. Oh my God, why I keep saying of today? Well, of today, that's fine too, right? The song of the day is Talking Too Much. And that's by Madison Ryan Ward. Y'all, I'm just going to be honest. I am a huge Madison Ryan Ward fan. I love her music. It's down. Like, it really is like down. I call it down to earth music because it's so encouraging. So, yes, again, the song is Talking Too Much by Madison Ryan Ward. And look, if y'all don't mind, if you could just, once you have listened to the song of the day, y'all give me some feedback. I love to hear if you were encouraged. Of course, I'm on Facebook at Focused and Free with Ree. I'm also on Instagram. It's the same thing. I'm on TikTok as well. So I love, just to hear you guys' feedback and to just know if you're encouraged. So until next time, stay focused, stay free, because I can guarantee y'all it's the best way to be. Until next time.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Focused and Free with Ree. Make sure you stay focused and free, because it's the best way to be. make sure you stay tuned for the next episode.